Could you imagine Giannis Antetokounmpo in a Golden State Warriors uniform, sharing the court with Stephen Curry? It's a kind of NBA fever dream that sends shivers down your spine and lights up the internet. But hold on to your hats, because while the thought is intoxicating, the reality, according to the experts, is a cold, hard slap in the face. Welcome back to our exclusive report, where we're diving deep into the rumors, the realities, and the absolute bombshells rocking the basketball world. The whisper started softly, then grew into a roar. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, potentially on the move from Milwaukee. Reports surfaced that Giannis sat down with the Bucks front office to discuss his future. And in today's NBA, that kind of meeting, especially with superstar, is like throwing gasoline on the fire of speculation. And naturally, the Golden State Warriors, a team with legendary core nearing the twilight of their dynasty, a team desperate to squeeze every last drop out of Stephen Curry's remaining prime, immediately entered the chat. The math seemed simple. Curry needs a co-star. Giannis is an MVP-level talent. Let's make it happen. But as always, the devil is in the details. And in the NBA, the details are usually measured in millions of dollars and complex salary cap rules. That's where ESPN's Bobby Marks, one of the sharpest minds in the league when it comes to the brutal financial realities, stepped in on Get Up to pump the brakes. And folks, he didn't just pump the brakes. He slammed on them with the force of a Giannis dunk. Marks laid it out plain and simple. How it would happen is you're likely trading Jimmy Butler or Draymond Green in a trade. Marks stated unequivocally, that's how it happens. There's not a scenario where you can fit Giannis and also keep the other three players there. Let that sink in for a second. You want Giannis? You're likely saying goodbye to a franchise icon like Draymond Green, the emotional engine and defensive anchor of this dynasty, or another high-salary player like Jimmy Butler. If he were on the team, which he isn't, correction. Marks likely meant another high-salary player like Klay Thompson or Andrew Wiggins, as Butler plays for the Heat. This highlights the brutal necessity of shedding significant salary. Let's assume Marks meant Klay Thompson or Andrew Wiggins, as they are the high-salary players alongside Curry and Green. The numbers tell the story. Giannis is owed a staggering $51.9 million next season. Steph Curry is locked in at $59.6 million. You simply cannot add another near $60 million contract to the books without offloading massive salary. The dream scenario of adding Giannis to the existing core? According to Marks, it's a financial impossibility. But while Bobby Marks was busy crunching the numbers and delivering the harsh truth, ESPN's Jay Williams had a different take, one fueled by pure, unadulterated ambition. Williams didn't flinch at the prospect of trading away a franchise favorite. His response was immediate and blunt. Well, Bobby, I would say this. Thank you for your service, Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler. Bye-bye. Williams declared, again, likely referencing a high-salary player like Klay or Wiggins instead of Butler, who isn't on the team. This isn't about sentimentality for Williams. It's about seizing a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Williams believed the Warriors must think big, swing for the fences, make the bold, perhaps painful, move necessary to extend their championship window. With Steph Curry still playing at an elite level, a force of nature defying father time, and the Western Conference becoming an absolute bloodbath of talent, adding Giannis isn't just a luxury. It could be a necessity to truly contend. Giannis is a perfect fit there in the Bay Area. And if there's one way you can send off Steph Curry into the sunset on a horse, that's with Giannis, Williams argued passionately. It's a compelling vision. One legendary MVP joining forces with another to chase one last glorious ride into the sunset. But it comes at a cost that would tear at the very fabric of the Warriors' dynasty. While the analysts debated the high-stakes financial chess game, one of the Warriors' own, young guard Brandon Podziemski, offered a different, perhaps more human, perspective on the idea of a player like Giannis changing teams. Podziemski, who grew up in Wisconsin and watched Giannis' entire journey with the Bucks, spoke on the Up and Adams show about what it was like to suddenly be competing against a player he idolized. I saw Giannis get drafted, Podziemski recounted. I was at a lot of games his rookie year and throughout his development. To be on the same court as him, playing against him, competing, it's pretty cool. It was kind of a full circle moment. It's a reminder that for players, especially young ones, facing the stars they grew up watching is a surreal experience. But Podziemski also touched on the emotional connection fans, and even players, have to seeing stars stay with one franchise. He compared the idea of Giannis in a different jersey to the almost unthinkable thought of Steph Curry not playing for the Warriors. It's like Steph not playing for the Warriors. You just expect him to be in one jersey, he said. This speaks to the powerful bond built between a superstar and a city, a bond that makes these trade rumors, especially involving icons like Giannis or Curry, feel almost sacrilegious to some. So where does that leave us? The dream of Giannis Antetokounmpo joining the Golden State Warriors is undeniably tantalizing. It would inject new life, new hope, and a legitimate shot at another championship into a franchise looking for its next act. Giannis would fundamentally change everything for Golden State, providing that seismic shift needed to compete at the very highest level. But the cost, as Bobby Marks so emphatically pointed out, is immense. It's not just draft picks. It's likely a core piece of the dynasty, a player beloved by the fan base and integral to the team's identity. It wouldn't be cheap, it wouldn't be easy, and it would absolutely require sacrifice. For now, the idea of pairing Curry with another MVP remains just that, a dream, unless Giannis himself decides to force his way out, altering the leverage equation. This blockbuster scenario will likely stay confined to the realm of sports talk shows and fan forums. All right, let's switch gears completely. From the stratospheric heights of MVP trade speculation to the ground floor of the NBA draft process. Did you know the Golden State Warriors recently held a pre-draft workout with a player who isn't even projected to be drafted? It's true. Former Indiana Hoosiers guard Trey Galloway got a look from the Warriors this afternoon, according to reports. Now, Galloway wasn't invited to the NBA Combine or the G League Elite Camp, and most draft analysts don't have him on their boards for the upcoming 2025 NBA Draft. So what's the angle here? For players in Galloway's position, these workouts are often about getting on the radar for the G League, the NBA's developmental league, which holds its draft in the fall. It's a path many players take to begin their professional careers and potentially work their way onto an NBA roster down the line. It's interesting because the Warriors already have a former Hoosier on their roster in forward Tracy Jackson-Davis, who just wrapped up a promising second season after being a second-round pick in 2023. Jackson-Davis is entering the final guaranteed year of his rookie deal, so the Indiana connection is already there. While no other players from Indiana's 2024-25 roster are expected to be drafted this year, there are other notable Hoosiers making moves. Former Indiana forward Mackenzie Mbako, who transferred to Texas A&M, impressed at the G League Elite Camp and earned a combine invite before ultimately withdrawing from the draft to play for the Aggies. Former Indiana center Omer Ballo also declared for the draft, but hasn't reportedly had any pre-draft workouts yet. Speaking of Indiana connections, the Sacramento Kings are building a significant Hoosier presence on their coaching staff. Former Indiana head coach Mike Woodson, who coached in the NBA for nearly 3 decades before his stint at IU, was hired in May as the Kings' associate head coach under new head coach Doug Christie. So, while Galloway might not be a lock for the NBA, the Indiana basketball tree continues to spread its branches throughout the league, with current players like Thomas Bryant, OG Anunoby, Jalen Hood-Schifino, Eric Gordon, Kel'el Ware, and Jackson-Davis all active in the NBA, and others like Miller Kopp, Xavier Johnson, and Race Thompson having spent time in the G League. Meanwhile, back in Bloomington, the Indiana program itself is undergoing a massive transformation under new head coach Darian DeVries, with a revamped staff and 11 new players, including a highly ranked transfer class. They just started summer workouts and are heading to Puerto Rico for a foreign tour. So, while Trey Galloway takes a shot with the Warriors, the program he just left is looking drastically different. It's a reminder of the constant churn and evolution in both college and professional basketball. Okay, Warriors fans, get ready for a name you might not have heard in a while. Chris Boucher. Remember him? The Warriors are reportedly in the market for a center this offseason. Both Steve Kerr and Draymond Green have said as much. They were linked to Nikola Vucevic before the trade deadline, but didn't pull the trigger. Now, another big man they know well is hitting unrestricted free agency, and he could be an inexpensive solution. Chris Boucher was actually signed by the Warriors way back in 2017 after going undrafted. He appeared in just one game for them during their 2017-18 championship season before becoming a free agent and signing with the Toronto Raptors. And that's where Boucher truly established himself, becoming a key part of the Raptors organization and even playing a role in their 2019 championship run. It was a fitting journey for a player who moved to Canada as a child. He's the only remaining player from that 2019 title team still on the Raptors roster. At 32, Boucher just had one of the best seasons of his career, averaging 10 points and 4.5 rebounds per game, shooting efficiently from the field 49.2%, and hitting a respectable 36.3% from three-point range. The Raptors opted not to trade him before the deadline, despite some speculation of a buyout, and now he'll be an unrestricted free agent in a few weeks. While the Raptors are undergoing a mini rebuild and recently traded for Brandon Ingram, potentially eyeing a return to the playoffs in 2026, several contending teams could definitely use a player with Boucher's size, shooting, and defensive capabilities off the bench. Could we see a full-circle moment with Chris Boucher returning to Bay Area? He's not the starting caliber center the Warriors ideally need, but he's a proven, productive player who could provide valuable minutes off the bench. He brings size, floor spacing with his shooting, and defensive versatility. The Warriors' biggest financial puzzle piece this summer is undoubtedly Jonathan Kuminga and his potential contract extension. If they re-sign Kuminga, it will severely impact their financial flexibility for other moves. Regardless of what happens with Kuminga, Boucher could be a very real, inexpensive option for Golden State to address their need for another big man. His veteran presence and positive impact off the court and in the locker room will be added bonuses. So, while the Warriors chase bigger names, don't be surprised if they turn to a familiar face like Chris Boucher as a practical, cost-effective solution for their frontcourt depth. Phew. From Giannis dreams and financial nightmares to undrafted hopefuls and potential reunions, the NBA offseason is already delivering the drama. What do you make of these stories? Do the Warriors need to make a massive splash for a star, or focus on solidifying a roster around Steph? Let me know your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive and want more exclusive reports breaking down the biggest news in sports, please show us some love. A like on this video goes a long way. Thanks for tuning in.